Hello, Monroe Woodbury families. I'm Tracy Norman, Superintendent of Schools. Welcome to our Crusader chat. At today's chat, we will be discussing the Distraction-Free School Law, which was passed as part of the 2026 state budget. Joining me today to my left are Dr. Bargov Vias, Assistant Superintendent for Compliance and Information Systems, Dr. Karen Morales, Assistant Superintendent for Curriculum and Instruction, UPK through grade 5, Dr. Eric Hassler, Assistant Superintendent for Curriculum and Instruction, grades 6 through 12, Mr. Jason McElroy, High School Principal, and Mr. Rafael Vasquez, Jr., Middle School Principal. Our goal today is to share an overview of the law, what it means to the Monroe Woodbury community, our students, and then to answer some questions we have received from our families. This is just the first in a series of opportunities we will have for families to connect with us and talk with us. Dr. Vias.
Thank you, Dr. Norman. New York State implemented distraction-free law as a part of the financial year 2026 budget. This law is a statewide mandate prohibiting the students to use the internet-enabled personal devices during the school day. This will impact all our students, including the statewide school districts and BOCES and the charter schools. How are we complying with this law as a Monroe Woodbury School Districts? So in order for us to be compliant, we form a district-wide distraction-free learning committee starting in January. This committee includes a variety of different stakeholders, and committee has done a really good job of doing the research, visiting the school districts, and looking at the processes and procedures for the school districts that are ahead than us in implementing this process. So what is this distraction-free law and how it's going to impact to our school districts? In order to comply for this law, our Board of Education has passed the policy 5695 last week, students and personal electronic devices. This policy indicated that the covered devices, meaning that any device that is internet-enabled, cell phone, laptops, smartwatches, that are going to be prohibited from bell to bell for the students to be used. The policy also indicated for elementary students, these devices should be staying home and not be bringing at the school level. For the secondary students, grades 6 to 12, all students will be assigning a magnetic lock pouch called Yonder Pouch during their time with us in Monroe Woodbury. This pouch is going to be available to all the students in the beginning of this school year. And both buildings, middle school and high school, will be sending more detailed information about how to use the pouch. In general, when the students arrive in the buildings, they will be taking their pouch, turning off their personal device, and then put in the pouch and lock with the magnetic lock. At the dismissal, the students will be able to go to a specific locations and then unlock the pouch and then go to their dismissal process. During the school time, the pouch that has a phone will stay with the students either in their backpack or in their locker. The district policy also has some exemption for the medical or disability-related reasons. Students will be able to communicate with their parents via the district district email account on a district devices throughout the day. Also, they will be able to use specific phones that we are setting up in different house offices. Parents will be able to also communicate to their student throughout the day through the main offices of each building. Then I'll pass it now to Dr. Hassler.
Thank you, Dr. Vias. So in Dr. Norman's letter to the community, originally informing everyone about this law, he asked for questions from the community, which is what led to this Crusader chat. We received a few dozen questions on a variety of different topics, so what we've done is we've organized those questions into similar areas, and we're going to cover them by topic and hopefully get to every single one of those various questions. The first series of questions relate to general overview questions about this particular law and policy. And the first question is, what research supports this law?
Thank you, Dr. Hassler. Our Distraction-Free Learning Committee has done a really good job in terms of looking at the variety of different research, including the research from Dr. Murthy, which talks about the impact of social media on the students. In general, our students might spend 6 to 8 to 10 hours. This law indicated that not having the phone with them during the school will allow our students to to pay attention to what the teachers are teaching, ultimately improving their social emotional wellness. We have also done some research that came out from the Pew Research Center, along with the information that the committee reviewed, the information from New York State School Board Association, New York State United Teachers, information released by that group. Our Distraction-Free Learning Committee also attended a variety of different workshops and educated ourselves to understand that what this law and what is the research behind this, including the site visit for the school districts that they have implemented these policies and procedure, and that helped us to form our decision and a process in terms of the next steps for this process.
Thank you. You can also find additional information about the research supporting this law on our district website as well. The next question is, does the district have to comply with these laws and regulations? Dr. Vias.
Yes, it's a law, and we will be complying as a district.
The next question, does this law impact only middle school and high school students? What about my elementary student? Dr. Morales.
This law impacts all of our students in grades UPK through grades 12. Middle school and high school students will receive a Yonder pouch in which their devices will be stored throughout the day. While our personal devices are prohibited in our UPK through grade 5 buildings, we are strongly recommending that they are left at home for our elementary students.
Thank you. The next question, will staff also be required to follow this policy with their own phones? Dr. Morales.
So this policy only applies to students. However, we are expecting and encouraging our administrators, teachers, and staff to model appropriate cell phone use throughout the day.
Thank you. Does the school district lose state funding if they do not follow this law? We had a few questions related to this. Dr. Vias.
So it is a law, and we will be complying with the law. New York State has put aside $13.5 million, and Monroe-Woodbury is eligible just about $37,000 for this.
Thank you. The next question, we received a few questions related to this. Will there be an opt-out option for students if parents do not agree with this new law? Dr. Vias.
Since it is a law, there is no opt-out for the students. However, there are exemptions built into the policy that the board has passed related to medical and disability-related reasons for our students.
Thank you. Related to options, why is it not an option to have the phones put in classroom pouches?
So this is a good question. In terms of looking at the research from the Distraction-Free Learning Committee, what we learned that there are solutions that we could put it in the classroom. However, they do not comply with the bell-to-bell schedule. The bell-to-bell law is ultimately the students will be able to put their phone away when they enter the school and when they leave the school during the entire school day. This includes the lunchtime and the study halls as well.
Thank you. We also received a number of questions asking more specific information about what devices are covered by this. Dr. Vias mentioned earlier internet-connected devices. The law itself applies to internet-connected devices. However, our original code of conduct speaks to all communication, personal electronic equipment, cell phones. For the purposes of implementation of this law, all devices are still continuing to be prohibited. However, only the internet-based devices are the ones that actually need to be placed in the Yonder pouches. The questions we received were things like CD players, Walkman, MP3 players. Those devices which were under the original code of conduct are still prohibited. However, they don't need to be placed in the Yonder pouches. They just need to be off and away. But they will be able to be used with the permission and under the supervision of administration or a teacher. The next series of questions are around logistical and procedural items. And the first question is, does the ban apply to bus rides and after school? Dr. Morales.
So as this is for bell-to-bell, our students will have access to their devices on bus rides as well as after-school activities.
Thank you. The next question is, what is a Yonder pouch and how will it be used? So this is what a Yonder pouch is. It's basically a device with a magnetic locking system. Basically, what will happen is students will come into the building, and Mr. McElroy and Mr. Vasquez are going to speak about this more in a moment. They're going to take their cell phone. They'll put their cell phone inside of the pouch, and there's a button on the top which basically locks the device. And as Dr. Vias mentioned, this pouch will now get placed in their backpack or get placed in their locker for the day. In order to unlock the device, there is a magnet that is going to be out at dismissal, which again will be spoken about. Basically, at the end of the day, students will go up to the magnet, they will press the button, the pouch opens, and they have the ability to be able to take out their cell phone. The next question is, will this impact how long arrival and dismissal will be, and will there be any schedule changes? We received quite a few logistical questions on this topic, so we'll start with Mr. McElroy.
At the high school, we expect arrival and dismissal procedures to take a little extra time as students and staff get comfortable with the process. Within a week or two, we expect to be operating as normal. You can see the process is quick and takes little time. We will have no less than 30 unlocking devices for dismissal procedures. Yonder recommends 1 per every 120 students, so we are in good shape getting started. After school, unlocking devices will be located around the building. Security will have them. They'll be in offices, and they will be at the security booths along with outside of the building.
Same at the middle school, we will have stationary devices as well as mobile devices that are going to be carried by our personnel, and students are going to have the help and the assistance that they need in order for them to unlock their pouches.
Thank you. Can these be unlocked during the day, such as during lunch or study hall?
At the high school, they have to be locked from 7:08 to 1:58. The law states a bell-to-bell ban, so they are not able to be unlocked during study hall or lunch.
Same at the middle school, our timing is from 8 to 3 p.m.
What happens if a student forgets to unlock the magnetic device upon leaving school? How many unlocking stations will be available?
So at the high school, we have 4 unlocking stations available outside of the building. These will be unlocked and available at dismissal times as well as outside the normal operating hours of school.
And we have the same system at the middle school.
So to clarify, the magnet that I showed earlier, there will be magnets that will be mounted on the inside of the building, many of them for students upon exiting. However, there will be also unlocking stations outside of the building that after dismissal, these will be unlocked and they will be open, and students will be at any time after dismissal, either right at dismissal, or if they forget and you need to come back, you will be able to return to the building and they'll be accessible outside of the building. The next series of questions relate to contact with students and specifically emergency situations. So the first question is, what happens in an emergency situation where there is a lockdown and we cannot get in touch with the main office? How will we get in touch with our children? We had quite a few questions related to this topic. Dr. V.S.
So this is an important question, and student safety is paramount to us. When in doing our homework and doing our research, what the committee learned and talking to the top safety and security experts, that in fact the smartphone do not improve the student safety, and sometimes it can create the dangerous distractions themselves. However, the pouches are also not imperishable. They can be open and tear it apart in terms of a prolonged lockdown or a true emergency. So students would have the ability to just tear it apart, the pouch, and then truly make the emergency call if it's a true emergency.
Thank you. The next question, will every teacher classroom have the capability to unlock the pouches? Will the students know where to find this in case there is an emergency and the adult in the room is not there or around to unlock it?
Teachers will not have a capacity to open the pouches. However, the unlock units, as Dr. Hassler showed earlier, would be placed throughout the building on a specific locations, and students will be able to go and open their pouch and get their phone.
Thank you. The next series of questions related to exemptions, and basically the first question is, are there exemptions to this policy and law? As Dr. V.S. had mentioned earlier, according to the policy, parents do have the ability to request an exemption for their child based upon a documented medical or disability-related situation. Requests are going to be made to the building principal. Each of the building principals in the near future will be sending out communication to their school communities related to various building level aspects of the implementation of this. Included in that communication will be the process at the building level on how to request it. There will be a Google form along with documentation that will need to be submitted, and you'll get more information regarding exemptions from your building principal. In closing, there are some additional sort of general overview questions about a variety of different topics. The first is, what happens if a student does not comply? What are the consequences? Once again, the Board of Education has adopted the policy on July 23rd. We are currently in the process of taking the language from the policy and updating our code of conduct to reflect that language in our cell phone and personal electronics section. Enforcement may include various items such as warnings to students and requiring them to stow away their devices. In the event that the student doesn't comply, they may have that device confiscated from them and put away in a secure location in the main office of the building. The device may be returned to students and/or parents, and certainly parents will be communicated in those situations. If the student continues to violate the policy, then they may be subject to further consequences due to insubordination. The next question is, what if my child loses the pouch? What is the cost? Who pays? Dr. Vies.
So before I answer the question, I want us to be aware that our students have a lot more expensive district-assigned devices with them. Our students are good students. In general, they do not break their district-assigned devices. With that being said, the cost for the first time when we give them a pouch, there is no cost for them. If the student lose the pouch, we will be assigning them a second pouch at no additional cost to a student or parent. However, if the students lose that second pouch, then we will give them a third pouch at the cost of $30 to students and parents.
Thank you. The next question is, how much money is Yonder making on this new process? Are they donating the pouches? If not, is this being paid for by the state? If so, why is the state not using the funds for other school items like continuing free lunch, school supplies, safety, etc., especially when classrooms already have pouches for teachers?
So New York State has allocated $13.5 million for all the school districts who will be complying to this law. As a Monroe-Woodbury, we are qualified about $36,984, and our business office has already applied for the reimbursement of this money to our New York State.
Thank you. Our final question is, can the district provide information on homeschooling for families not wanting to attend school in person? The Curriculum and Instruction Office oversees homeschooling for the school district. Any parent is welcome to reach out to the Curriculum and Instruction Office for more information on withdrawing your child and beginning the homeschooling process, so feel free to reach out to us. And with that, I'd like to turn it back over to Dr. Norman.
So we hope you found this chat informative, and we ask that you continue to send us questions using our VIA online form found on our district website. Specific details relating to your child's specific school or building, you'll receive a letter on August 6th from your child's principal. Also, families will have 2 opportunities to engage with leaders virtually, beginning on August 25th. The first will be a lunchtime chat at 12:30 p.m. and an evening chat at 6 p.m. Links to the Google Meets will be shared in mid-August. We recognize that this is a major transition for our students, and we want to make this as smooth as possible. Trust that we have all of our students' best interests at hand. We ask that you be patient with us, and we're confident that we'll get through this process smoothly and successfully. Thank you.